Hello, glorious soul. Welcome to your soul service astrology update for the 28th of March, 2022. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm Kelx. I'm a 13 sign sidereal astrologer, and I'm also the creator of soul service astrology. 13 sign sidereal astrology is astronomy informing astrology. It is observational astrology. It is ecological astrology. It requires you to observe the sky and your environment and then divine the meaning from that. It takes account of the Earth's axis wobbling, which is known as precession. So that is 13 sign sidereal astrology in a nutshell. I'm also the creator of soul service astrology. What does that mean? I have created an ecosystem where we use astrology as a portal to connect us back into our ecological self. That's why it has to be observational astrology. That's why we have to be observing our environment. So that enables us to become more interconnected with our planet and help our planet. It allows us to become more interconnected with our soul and our self, and therefore our service. So we help ourselves and therefore we can help our planet. And that's soul service astrology. It is an observational astrology so that we can come back into a deep ecological connection with ourselves, our planet, and our solar system. And we can change the paradigm that we live in now. Right, so that's soul service astrology. Let's get into this week's astrology. It is going to be a big week. The 28th of March is a big week in the skies, and you'll soon see why in the chart. So there is two significant energies in this week's chart. So let's dive in and have a look as I quickly share my screen. There we go. That's Monday the 28th. And perhaps you can notice straight away that we have 4 celestial bodies, 4 planets within Capricorn, and then we have 5 celestial bodies in Pisces. The main movement that has occurred on Monday, and I want to talk about for Monday, is this 4 powerful planets in Capricorn. Now, this is only going to last a day because the moon will transit through here in 1 to 2 days. However, it's a wake-up call. It's there for us to notice that the Capricorn energy is still strong within us. What does that mean? So in soul service astrology, I don't want you to just listen to this and go, oh, that's nice. This is what's happening to me. That's not how I want you to use soul service astrology. Soul service astrology is a bit more applied. It's applied astrology. I want you to inquire and observe what's going on for you. And when I describe the particular archetypal energy that's present in dominance at the moment, you can see in dominance we've got Capricorn and Pisces. See how that's showing up in your life. Now, it might not be showing up, and you might then sit and go, why isn't that showing up? And do I want it to show up? Or is it an energy that I want to lean into more? Or is it an energy that I'm resisting? So let's talk about Capricorn for a bit. Capricorn has the energy of the leader. It is very consistent. It's consolidated. It's not interested in looking afield or doing heaps of things like Sagittarius is. Sagittarius is all about ideas, being curious and exploring and expanding. Capricorn is very much about consolidating and coming into a much more aligned expert mastery. It wants you to follow the pathway of your leadership. It wants you to rise up and build a really nice solid foundation for what it is that you plan to build in this world. Now, there's a lot of myth around Capricorn in pop astrology, I would say, that makes Capricorn sound really horrible and hard to be a Capricorn, right? If we think about the myth of Capricorn and the constellation of Capricorn, it's a magical sea goat. Once we start moving from Scorpio it's an actual thing. You can find scorpions on the planet, right? Ophiuchus, you can find men handling snakes, the snake handler, or women handling snakes. You can find snakes on the planet. However, when we start stepping into Sagittarius, and you'll see my point in a minute, I've gone on a tangent, moonwalk, Kel's gone on a moonwalk. Sagittarius is the centaur, half horse, half man. Oh, we're starting to get these magical creatures. We're starting to blend the human and the animal world. We're starting to bring in that maybe there's this other subtle realm that we're interconnected with that can feed our human experience. And you kind of do that in Sagittarius, don't you? You go, oh, there's a bit more. And that's why Sagittarius is so linked with philosophy. Once we get to Capricorn, with the magical sea goat, it's a mountain goat. So one, it's on a mountain, right? And I don't know if you've ever seen those goats balancing on a mountain. That requires skill and expertness, right? You don't really want to be on shaky ground if you're a mountain goat. You want to be on firm footing. So there's meaning behind that. But then as it ascends up the mountain, it's getting closer to the heavens. So there's that connection with the divine that Capricorn has. And in the myth turns into a fish. It can go and turn into a fish. Like, that suggests to me that there's this element of sure-footedness and ascending up a mountain towards the heavens, and that there's this magical realm that you can transcend into with Capricorn. But it requires you to consolidate and clear out. So yes, you've gone big in Sagittarius, but when you come to Capricorn, now we did a lot of Sagittarius energy over the holiday season, right? So once you've come to Capricorn, and I've been feeling this and experiencing it myself, it is consolidate, consolidate, consolidate. So you can see I'm like, get that off the table, off the plate, to the point where there was lots of things that I was going to be doing this year, and it's just like, you were doing this and you were doing this. So that is the energy of Capricorn that is calling you to consolidate, consolidate, consolidate. Focus in on your mastery. Now, this can sometimes be hard, right? Because we are part of, in particular, in the white Western world, and I'm going to say white Western world, but of course there's black, brown, indigenous, and melanated people that are within this white Western world that is predominantly capitalist. And to survive, for our base needs to be met, we sometimes have to be a cog in that machine. And so this can be really hard. It can feel like hard work. Saturn calling us, Capricorn calling us, Venus and Mars, all this energy directed towards, and that now the moon on Monday and Tuesday, this moon there calling us to lean into our expertness, our mastery, our leadership, and to really consolidate and focus in on that pathway so that we can bring to life the divine. So there's always this interplay in astrology where it's as above, so below, as within, so without. So there's this, that's the non-dualistic nature, so that at the same time that we're connected to everything that is, we're bringing it here to earth. And that's the point of soul service astrology. You're connecting with your soul, but you're being of service. There's no point keeping all this information to yourself. Whatever it is that you do in the world, you must share it. Of course, you've got to be and do it yourself and then bring it to the world. Certainly not suggesting you come and, pretend what you're talking. This is expert level, right? I don't want you to come and think that you're going to pretend to talk about something and you have to serve straight away. Capricorn energy is tortoise energy, and of course the capitalist machine and the consumerist machine is you can have it now, be it now, do it now. And of course, in the spiritual and wellness world that I'm in, that industry, manifestation and law of attraction and do it now, have it now, and quantum and da-da-da-da-da. No. Sometimes you have to work for things. Sometimes you have to make really tough decisions to consolidate and stop going down pathways to come into your leadership. And this is medicine for me as I'm speaking this out with what's been going on in my experience. So feel into that for your experience in relation to Capricorn energy, because this is the last sort of burst of it until we start shifting more into Aquarian energy. Now, that is Monday. Tuesday, the energy is similar. As you can see, we've got the moon shifting into Aquarius. But then on Wednesday, I'm going to now talk about this Pisces energy. Now, last week, the Pisces energy increased with Jupiter entering into Pisces at the end of last week. So Jupiter's still there now, but this energy is growing. It's not on Wednesday that it happens. No, it's on Thursday that we have the moon entering into Pisces. So now we have 3 planets in Capricorn, 3 powerful planets in Capricorn, all quite close to Saturn as well. So don't forget that that Capricorn energy is still there. And then we've now got Pisces energy. And when we have a stellium, like what we have now, 6 planets in Pisces, it's calling us to notice. Now, what's interesting is we just had the spring equinox in the northern hemisphere or the autumn equinox in the southern hemisphere. And the equinox is really the starting point of where all charts are plotted from. Now, in sidereal astrology, we plot it from the variable equinox point, which moves with precession, whereas in tropical astrology, it gets plotted from 0 degrees Aries. But the other significant point about the spring or the vernal equinox, where it's located in Pisces at the moment, is that is also the age that we're in. So interestingly enough, we're in the age of Pisces, and over the next 2 to 3 weeks, we have a lot of Pisces energy building. So that requires us to have a look at it. We need to look at this Pisces energy. Now, I spoke a lot about Capricorn energy, consolidating and leadership and being methodical and consistent, making hard decisions and working. And sometimes those things take time. We have to learn particular lessons. Now, with Pisces energy, there really is this call for transcendence, to be doing those things on earth. This is where we start to practice non-dualism, that you can still be consolidating, working, taking steps, being a leader, being in the world, because Capricorn's very earth-based, being in this world, while also transcending, while also honoring your mystical and spiritual nature, while also honoring the interconnectedness with everything that there is and the symbiotic connection that we have with the plants and the animals and the mycorrhiza in the leaf litter, right? So this really is supercharged connection to our spiritual and mystical nature. Now, you might think that that's a bit woo for you, but have you ever lent into or had moments where you knew something was going to happen, or you had a dream and then you saw some visions and those visions became reality? Or perhaps you heard a song that you hadn't heard for a very long time and you realized that it had information for you. That is your intuition talking, and your intuition is with you always and forever. And at this moment in time, the next couple of weeks, it is a really beautiful time to deepen into our intuition. Now, what's interesting is that's Thursday, but as we move into Friday, the 1st of April, of course, we have a new moon in Pisces. Now, let's think about this. We've just had a full moon in Virgo, and it was a full moon in Virgo, and Virgo is very much about service, and also very much with a full moon, it was about releasing emotions and feelings about being perfect in service. Or perhaps what I felt, and perhaps you did too, and Virgos are really, really good at this, is holding on to guilt that our service has changed perhaps, or guilt that our service is showing up in a much more humanistic way rather than a capitalistic way. So my service is now starting to show up in much more of a way I feel like a human would operate if there wasn't the capitalist system there. And of course, when you're shifting gears like that, there's guilt, right? So that was what I shared with this Virgo full moon. And now we're being called to transcend and come back into an interconnection and bring that interconnection and honor it and intend that we intuit and we connect with our intuition all the time as part of our service. And that is what means to come back into ecological connection, right? Is that you're honoring your service, you're honoring yourself, you're noticing. I'll always talk about noticing, but then you're listening. And when I say listening with Pisces vision, we'll call it Pisces vision, is you're feeling in your body, you're watching your dreams, you're watching your visions, you're watching what comes up for you in meditation, you're listening to things that come through hearing, but not hearing with your sense hearing, if you know what I mean. So what I'm talking about is the 4 clairs. There's clairvoyance, clairaudience, claircognizance, and clairsentience. And they're all the subtle minds that we can work during this period. And I would really, really, really encourage you to do that, because the energy is significant here. Now, overall, this little dance between Virgo and Pisces, if you look at these constellations from now, we observe these constellations. If we weren't here, if we weren't human, we wouldn't be observing these constellations this way. Virgo is the largest constellation, and look at the size of Pisces. Pisces is pretty big too. And this is the divine opposition that we find ourselves in, that we're very human or we're completely divine. And so the dance is between the Virgo full moon and the Pisces new moon is that you start to find a harmony between I am fully divine and divinely human. And this is solidified and consolidated with that Earth, Saturn, and Saturn Capricorn energy that is still present while you were doing this. So you don't have to separate the both of them. So what I'm suggesting is, on the new moon, could you intend to use both your logic and your intellect and your intuition in your leadership, in your mastery, in what it is that you're creating and bringing of service into the world, and laying down into your systems and your methodologies and sharing with the world? Could we have more leadership that is mystically and spiritually guided? And could we have more leadership in the mystical and spiritual world? Could we have more expertness in the mystical and spiritual world, rather than someone doing one course and then thinking that they're an expert and not thinking that they need to embody and integrate these learnings and sort of channel them through their intuition and what they're called to bring forth, instead of this rapid pace, oh, everything's quantum and I learn one thing and I transfer it. No. So can you hear the opposition and what we're being called to do? And I feel that this is very much linked to the age that we're in. We're in the age of Pisces, so we're swinging back towards becoming more spiritual and more mystical. We've swung too far the other way. We've become very capitalist. We've forgotten that we're spiritual and mystical. And now over the next 675 years, the whole idea is to become more cosmologically connected to everything that is to return to the knowledge that we had before, with our technological and scientific advancements, and to bring it here on Earth and to embrace both aspects of ourselves. And that is the divine oscillation that we find ourselves in. Lots is coming out today. So it's an amazing week. So that was Friday the 1st on the new moon. So set a new intention for yourself on Friday the 1st of April around your service and integrating your spiritual and mystical nature within your service, regardless of what it is, right? I say service as being a very general term because we all have different callings to be of service, and you can integrate your spiritual and mystical nature in that. You can integrate your spiritual and mystical nature into your leadership, into your expertness, into your methodologies, into your foundational core creativity and techniques. And then vice versa, you can bring leadership to your mystical nature and spiritual nature. Now, if you are a spiritual creative and you don't feel like you're being leaderful or stepping into your leadership, maybe now is the time. And that's why I say consolidate. You will have a thing that you are an expert on And that is your calling to step into your leadership. So it's not one or the other. One isn't better than the other. It's a bringing it together, and it's ending. You do like that? It's ending that dualistic tendency that humans have. So then on the 2nd and the 3rd, we see that Venus moves. We still have a lot of Pisces energy. We still have Mars and Saturn in Capricorn together. So that's still, the Capricorn energy is still there. But then we get a bit of a release, and Venus on the weekend, the 2nd and 3rd, moves into Aquarius. That's a little bit of a fresh breath of fresh air energy that comes in with that Aquarian energy. So Aquarius energy is very inspiring. It wants to change. There wants to be, and with Venus is the regenerator, but also the connector. So there's this sense of renewal towards the change that we wish to see. So we've consolidated, we've stepped into our leadership, we've renewed some things there, we've consolidated down, we've cleared out. Perhaps you've formed some really great collaborations and connections. Perhaps you have renewed the types of connections and boundaries that you want to have. And now you step into this renewed connective state within Aquarius, and you've got your why, you have your vision, and you're ready to create and bring it forth. And you've also got your mystical and spiritual nature, which is, on fire and being called, so that you can start to bring this elevating this is, and to be inspiring, create things that inspire people towards the change that you wish to see and be. And look, our imaginations have taken a hit over the last, I'd say 50 to 70 years for many, many reasons. So please, I want to see all you creatives out there creating things and showing me everything that you're doing, because I want to be inspired to change. The world is craving it. And if we feed in our mystical and spiritual nature, you don't even have to call it that. You can just feed it into your imagination and creativity and your leadership. We can change the world, right? Whew. All right. So that is the week of the 28th of March. It is an amazing week, and I certainly hope that you can sink into those energies and vibrate on a different frequency, because sometimes we need that. We need that shaking up. We need that change. And maybe if you've never felt into your mystical or spiritual nature, in particular with the amount of Pisces energy that's coming in, it might feel really disorientating. And I would just say on the last note is take care of yourself. Allow yourself some time to meditate, rest, do something, get into nature. I always say get into nature, do something outside, garden, plant some trees, plant some seeds, plant some flowers. I know lots of the world are going into spring. Then if you're in the southern hemisphere, it might be looking and going, okay, so how can I go inward and renew? Because now we're sliding into more darkness in the southern hemisphere. So look after yourself if it feels disorientating, is what I'm saying. So that's the energies for the week of the 28th. If you would like to work with me, I have a membership group called Eco Alchemy. That is a paid membership community where every month you get a celestial playbook. You get all these energies that I talk about every week, but you get them up front at the beginning of the month so that you can plan with them, you can play with them. That's why it's called a celestial playbook. You get my meditations, which you can download and listen to whenever you need, one monthly meditation. And you also get a new moon circle with me live via Teams or an online platform. I'm still working between Teams and Zoom, where we come together on the new moon to set new intentions, to feel into the significant energy that is available. So if you would like to join me in Eco Alchemy, you can find the details at kellygunter.com. And that's it from me. Have a glorious week. Bye.